The Order, 2024, unfolds with a gripping radio broadcast featuring Jewish talk show host Alan Berg, who confronted an anti-Semitic caller, marking a disturbing escalation of extremist rhetoric within society. This exchange sets the stage for Berg's tragic assassination, which signifies the rise of the Order, a menacing white supremacist militia. Concurrently, a group of men including Bob Matthews is shown seething in response to Berg's provocative words, hinting at their future violent intentions. The narrative then introduces FBI agent Terry Husk, a veteran investigator reassigned to a seemingly tranquil town where he secretly aims to investigate the burgeoning threat of domestic terrorism, particularly focusing on the Aryan Nation and the emerging faction The Order. As Terry delves into their operations, he grows suspicious of local law enforcement, suspecting some may be complicit in covering up the militia's crimes. Additionally, we are introduced to Jamie Bowen, a young deputy who yearns to assist Terry but is conflicted about challenging influential figures in his town. Jamie's decision to covertly provide Terry with a pile of counterfeit bills unveils a shocking revelation. The Order is printing its own currency, thus transforming them from merely a hate group into a formidable terrorist organization with substantial financial resources. As the investigation deepens, Terry and Jamie uncover alarming links between the Order and a series of violent criminal acts nationwide. Bob Matthews emerges as a charismatic yet ruthless leader who has rallied a band of fervent followers prepared to commit extreme acts for their cause. The violence escalates from robberies and bombings to targeted killings, prompting Terry to alert his superiors that the Order is poised to ignite something far more significant. However, his concerns largely fall on deaf ears. The film also examines the internal dynamics of its characters. We witness Bob Matthews' ideological evolution and his transformation into a ruthless terrorist. Additionally, Terry Husk faces profound personal dilemmas, grappling with the implications of his investigation on his life. The narrative hints at Jamie Bowen's tragic potential fate. His survival remains uncertain, posing the question of whether he becomes yet another victim of extremist violence. The story also features Tony Torres, an undercover agent whose infiltration raises the stakes. How long could he evade discovery by the Order before his true identity is revealed? Ultimately, the film addresses themes of violence used as a political strategy and the justifications employed by the Order for their heinous actions, illuminating the pervasive danger posed by extremist ideologies. The intersection of counterfeit money and robberies with terrorism funding forms a complex picture of how extremist groups finance their operations. Counterfeiting acts as a critical financial lifeline for terrorist organizations, enabling them to bypass traditional funding routes that might draw scrutiny or regulation. The ability to generate and utilize fake currency allows such groups to procure resources clandestinely and manipulate economic systems without detection. Robberies, meanwhile, provide an immediate influx of cash and supplies, often targeted against institutions that symbolize authority or societal structures the terrorists seek to undermine. Together, these strategies illustrate a pragmatic, albeit criminal, approach to sustaining their activities, revealing how domestic terrorism can be nurtured through economic destabilization. In direct contrast, the internal dynamics within groups like the Order reveal deep-seated issues stemming from racial purity obsession. This ideology fosters a profound psychological impact on its members, driving them into a delusional state where they see themselves as crusaders for a misguided notion of racial superiority. The psychological toll manifests itself in paranoia, aggression, and a rigid black and white worldview that glorifies violence. As members become entangled in this belief system, they grapple with a sense of isolation from broader society, reinforcing their extremist views and leading to a cruel cycle of radicalization and destructive behavior. Alternate ending possibilities. Imagining an alternative outcome where Bob Matthews survives opens a realm of speculation regarding the rippling effects on domestic terrorism. His survival could have emboldened his followers, potentially leading to even more organized and widespread violence and a chilling influence on other extremist groups venturing into similar ideologies. Meanwhile, considering whether Terry Husk could have acted differently introduces discussions around preventative measures taken by law enforcement. Had Terry sought help or collaborated more closely with mental health professionals to address his own deteriorating state, he might have been more effective in dismantling the Order earlier. Moreover, exploring the notion of a bigger plan behind the Order could imply a larger network of extremist coordination that extends beyond the observable actions. This possibility raises important questions about the interconnectedness of domestic terrorist groups and their potential links to broader global agendas, suggesting that the ideological battle may be more profound and strategic than merely a localized movement. The minds behind the chaos, character dynamics. Bob Matthews, the film's prominent antagonist, channels his disillusionment into a hazardous trajectory of radicalization and violence. His evolution from charismatic leader to a figure of ruthless paranoia reflects the darker sides of extremism, showcasing how idealistic zeal can devolve into lethal fanaticism. Conversely, Terry Husk, the federal agent, embodies the moral conflict against rising terrorism. His past failures haunt him, fueling a relentless crusade against the Order, though this obsession simultaneously unravels his personal well-being. Their conflicting arcs highlight the tragic costs of terrorism, both for the radicals and those striving to combat them. By the conclusion of the film, Terry has accomplished his objective with the death of Bob Matthews. However, this victory raises questions about the true cost of his mission. The final scene implies that Terry's struggle continues, indicating that the ideological battle against extremism may be far from over. Jamie Bowen, depicted as an idealistic young deputy, initially approaches his role with eagerness and a desire to enact positive change. Yet his deepening involvement with the Order exposes him to a more formidable enemy than he had initially perceived. His relationship with Terry evolves into a mentor-student dynamic where Jamie gradually steps out of his comfort zone in pursuit of justice. This newfound engagement ultimately leads to his tragic fate during a raid on the Order's hideout. Jamie's death significantly impacts Terry, fueling his determination to confront Bob Matthews while simultaneously underscoring the film's core message: the struggle against extremism exacts a heavy toll. Tony Torres, the infiltrator living with an ever-present threat, introduces an element of suspense and personal jeopardy to the narrative. As a Mexican-American man masquerading as Spanish-European, Tony's infiltration of the Order places him under constant peril. Should his true identity be discovered, execution would be inevitable. He treads a perilous path, aiming to earn Bob's trust while surreptitiously relaying information to the FBI. The tension escalates as Bob begins to question Tony's loyalty, insinuating that his cover may be compromised. Despite grappling with intense fear, Tony displays unwavering commitment to dismantling the Order. However, as events unfold, it becomes clear that Tony's luck is fading. The FBI's raid forces him to flee, acknowledging that even survival does not equate to safety. The film explores several overarching themes, notably focusing on the grim realities of domestic terrorism. A significant aspect is the radicalization process wherein extremists recruit and indoctrinate followers. Bob Matthews embodies a manipulative leader who not only commands the Order but also grooms its members through propaganda and psychological tactics, persuading them that their actions serve a noble cause. This portrayal draws unsettling parallels to genuine extremist organizations, illustrating how individuals are lured in by the prospect of belonging and purpose. Once involved, they become desensitized to the violence that accompanies their ideology, convinced that acts of murder are justified. In sum, the film weaves a narrative rich in tension, danger, and meaningful commentary on the broader implications of combating extremist ideologies, encapsulating the personal sacrifices and moral complexities faced by those on the front lines. Narrative: it explores the complexities of fighting extremist ideologies and the unforeseen consequences that arise from such battles. Terry Husk embodies the toll that the fight against extremism takes on individuals. His obsessive quest to dismantle the Order leads him to adopt increasingly aggressive tactics, mirroring the very extremists he is determined to defeat. As he delves deeper into this pursuit, he suffers from deteriorating health, fractured personal relationships, and a diminishing sense of identity, raising the crucial question of how far law enforcement should go in its attempts to neutralize threats. The film ultimately illustrates the danger of losing oneself in the fight against evil. Conversely, the narrative dismantles the notion of the lone wolf in the context of terrorism. Through the character of Bob Matthews, it becomes evident that extremist movements are rarely comprised of solitary figures, rather they are part of larger networks with deep-rooted ideologies. Even after Matthews' demise, the Order persists as a significant threat, hinting at the continuity of extremist beliefs which can lead to the emergence of new leaders and movements. This notion that extremism is more resilient and adaptable than individual actors is particularly unsettling, suggesting that for every figure who falls, another may rise in their place. The film also offers thought-provoking what-if scenarios, such as the possibility of Matthews escaping the FBI raid and continuing to cultivate the Order in secrecy. This twist could create an intriguing sequel, accentuating the persistent danger posed by extremist ideologies and the relentless challenge faced by law enforcement to thwart potential terror plots. Moreover, the narrative uncovers the stark reality that an underestimation of groups like the Order could have catastrophic consequences. Such oversight might have allowed for large-scale attacks that would depict the grim aftermath of domestic terrorism, underscoring the urgency for vigilance in preventing extremist activities. Another gripping alternate scenario involves the Order discovering Tony's affiliation before he escapes. This revelation could lead to a dramatic execution scene, exemplifying the lethal risks of undercover assignments and the perilous nature of infiltrating extremist organizations. Ultimately, The Order, 2024, serves as a cautionary tale, shedding light on the multifaceted challenges of combating extremism. Through its rich character development and intricate plot lines, it emphasizes the pressing need for awareness and proactive measures in confronting the evolving landscape of domestic terrorism. The film invites viewers to reflect on the implications of unchecked extremism and the moral complexities faced by those who confront it. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.